Hey everyone, welcome to another video. This is Greg with KillerReviews.com, and today we're talking about the horror movie from 2015, It Follows. So, this was one of those movies that everyone was telling me you gotta go see. And Greg Mo Roberts, one of the head writers at KillerReviews.com, gave this a rave review and said this is one of the must-see films of, I think it was last year, because Greg Mo sees these movies at film festivals, so he sees these way before most people do. But he said, Greg, you got to go see It Follows. You got to go see this movie. So, if you know me at all, you know that I don't go to the movies much. And, you know, the main reason, honestly, is I can't stand paying like $8 or $10 for a movie, whatever it is, and having somebody in the theater like talking or texting. It happens all the time. So I'd rather just wait and see it in my home. But there's certain movies that I just have to go see. Oh, or yeah, I shouldn't say that. Like, well, that's true as well. But sometimes I'm in the mood. Very rarely I'm in the mood to go see a movie. But I was in the mood that day, and I saw It Follows playing, and I said, okay, this is a perfect time for me to go see this movie. I was by myself. I was in a mood to see a horror movie. It was dark outside. It was rainy. So I go see It Follows. And this film is, let me give you some info on the movie. It's written and directed by David Robert Mitchell, and stars pretty much one main girl. It's Maika Monroe, and it's like an ensemble cast of maybe like 5 or 6 teenagers, but she's the main girl who gets this, I don't know, infection, not really infection, gets this curse or something like that. So the plot follows a girl. I'm going to read it. It's probably better if I read it. The plot follows a girl pursued by a supernatural entity after a sexual encounter. That's pretty much it. I mean, that's pretty much it. In my own words, this girl goes on a date early on in the movie. She has sex, and shortly after having sex with him, he explains to her what will happen to her going forward. You know, he says, you'll be followed by a certain being, and it changes shape. It's mostly human, but it can look like anything. And it will follow you. You can run, but it will follow you. And I guess eventually kill you, I guess. And he says, if you have sex with somebody, else, you pass it along, and it'll follow them instead. But if they die, it reverts back to the person beforehand. So that's the idea of the movie. And the movie pretty much... Well, actually, I'll get into that later. So let me fill you in a little bit about some interesting tidbits I was looking up online. The film was shot in Detroit, Michigan. The film debuted at Cannes Film Festival in 2014 to critical acclaim. It was purchased by the Weinstein Company, subsidiary for North American distribution. It received a limited release on March 13th, 2015, but after a successful limited release, the film received a wide release on March 27th. It did pretty well at the box office, not great, but did pretty well. And it wasn't in there too long, maybe 3 weeks, if I remember correctly. So, there's 2 paragraphs I want to read that I thought was pretty interesting. Writer and director David Robert Mitchell conceived the film based upon reoccurring dreams he had in his youth about being followed. And there's a quote from David. I had the dream when I was very young, the nightmare. It happened several times and still remember images from it. I didn't use those images for the film, but the basic idea and the feeling I used, From what I understand, it's an anxiety dream. Whatever I was going through at the time, my parents divorced when I was around that age, so I imagine that had something to do with it. You know, the movie Sinister with Ethan Hawke, That was also conceived from a dream he had about reel-to-reel film reels being found up in his attic with snuff films on them, and he worked around that a concept of the story for his movie. So apparently, a lot of good horror films start from dreams, I guess. The role that sexual transmission plays came later from Mitchell, wanting something to add that could transfer between people. Mitchell started writing the film in 2011. That's kind of blah, blah, blah. This wasn't his first movie. Well, I mean, he had made a movie before, but this wasn't his next movie, but he was writing it and got really into it, so he made this his next project. And he said he could never explain to people, when people asked him, what are you working on, he really never answered them because he figured it was such a stupid idea. He couldn't quite explain, without it sounding really dumb, what the movie was about. So he chose not to tell people what the film was about. Kind of cool. The film was shot in 2013 in Detroit, Michigan, like I said, and the director used wide-angle lenses when filming to give the film an expansive look, and cited that the works of George Romero and John Carpenter as influences on the film's compositions and visual aesthetic. Yeah, so that's all for tidbits. That's actually 100% true. And my first positive point is the cinematography and music. Once I came out of the movie theater for It Follows, I came back home. I looked up reviews and message boards. I read Greg Mo's review again, and a lot of people love the movie, and a lot of people commented on exactly that: the cinematography, the music, the overall look of the film, the style of the film, and it's very, very retro. It feels like a late 1970s, very early 80s movie. And that was what a lot of people pointed out in the reviews, right? They loved the filmmaking aspect of the movie. And I did too. I noticed that when I was watching the movie. Wow, that's a really cool scene. That's a really cool camera shot. That's really good music right there. It was constantly, I don't know. I was aware, which I guess probably isn't a good thing to keeping aware of all these elements, but they were really good. I would love the soundtrack to this movie. It was very, very well done style-wise. That was my favorite part of the movie. Another positive is if you're a guy or a bisexual female, there are lots of girls wearing like nothing in the movie. Lots of underwear, lots of bathing suits. So in the tradition of, campy horror movies, I mean, this movie's about having sex and having something following you. The nudity fit right in. Well, I don't think there's any nudity. But just the skimpy outfits, the cut-off shorts, and the director obviously liked having that in the movie. He photographs the girls a certain way, almost showing them off at times. But I always like that. I don't know. I don't think a horror movie needs that to be good, like all the sexual stuff. But there's something to be said for horror movies that work well, they're generally good movies. They're like scary, and they have sexy girls. I don't know, girls in horror movies are just like, it's like peanut butter and jelly, right? Peanut butter and chocolate, how about that? So the director definitely uses that angle, and it works great. Like, the girls are very attractive in this movie, and they look great in the movie. Very cool concept and well executed. Yeah, like the idea is really original, isn't it? I like it's new, right? Like, I mean, we had like a videotape that you put in and you die 7 days later. We've had viruses, right? Ouija boards. It was just kind of interesting. It makes you wonder, like, how this started. Who was the first person that followed? What's following? Why is it following? Right? It's a really interesting concept, and it's really creepy. I don't feel the movie's scary. Like, I was very disappointed by. I thought the movie would be a lot more scary, but there are a few eerie moments that involve the thing following, because it can be anybody. You never know. You know, it could be an 80-year-old lady in a wheelchair, or it could be a 5-year-old kid. You really never know what form is taking place. But there's a few moments that are generally really under your skin eerie about the thing following. And a lot of that has to do with what shape it takes when it follows. You know what I mean? Like a lot of time it's a nude person. But it's like a person that looked like they were birds bottom well. I mean, like, they don't look like a model. I mean, like, I don't know. It was really pretty creepy. So I loved the concept. I loved the execution of it. Genuine creepy moments. Yep. I really like the idea for the final location. If you've seen the movie, it's the final, 20 minutes in that certain location. If you haven't, I'm not going to tell you, obviously. But I really liked the finale. The finale was really smart and really clever. You know, how are we going to fight this thing? And they did a great job with that. And the film does capture a sense of dread. And part of that is the style of what was shot in. You know, it's a dark movie. It's not very colorful. It's grayed out at times by whatever, lenses they use or color correction, during the post-production process. But, there is this feeling you get that it's like you can never get far away. Like, it's always going to, you go to the moon and this thing would pop up on the moon 2 days later following you. So, that was really cool. Overall, I did like the movie quite a bit. But my con is a really, really big problem. I have one big problem with the movie. And the problem is nothing happens in the movie. One of my favorite horror movies of all time is The Ring. I love The Ring. I like the Naomi Watts one better than the original one. But I love the idea that she does research, the tape, where it's from. It's constantly moving, and it's, and trust me, I get the fact that It Follows works because you don't know anything about why you don't know anything about the thing following you, and you never find out anything about the thing following you. But the problem is the whole movie. This is kind of a spoiler, but I'm not giving away any cool parts. But the whole movie is just girls, a group of kids hanging out at a location. It Follows catches the kids. The kids escape that location, go to location B. Guess who shows up? Little Fast Legs shows up at location B. And then the kids go, it's here, it's here. They run to location C. Guess who's on their way to location C? Location C spoiled. Location D comes up. You get the point. The whole movie is them running, and then they get to the other spot, then they talk for a while. Something minor might happen, and then they run. So, I was watching the movie, and I'm thinking, when is something going to happen? And nothing happens. I wish I knew that going in. I don't know. Part of this is my problem because I had these huge expectations going in. Here we go. This is going to be the best horror movie I've seen in years. It's going to blow my balls off my body, across the room. And it didn't do that. I will say it's a badass movie. Everybody I've talked to loved it. it's got like a 97% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. Greg Mo Roberts, who his opinion is gold to me, he gave this one of the best movies of last year. So I think it's me just wanting more. For me, one of the all-time best horror movies, in my opinion, is Martyrs. It just doesn't get better than Martyrs. That blew me away. Thank you, Bren. Blew me away. I want another Martyrs. This one was cool, but it didn't blow me away. Okay. Oh, but I do want to tell a story real quick. So I'm watching, just real quick. So I'm at the movie theater, and there's only like maybe 6 people in the theater. I go like on the earliest show. So I'm sitting here in the theater. I'm all relaxed. I get some popcorn, which I didn't want to do because I can't stand they charge $9 for a bag of fucking popped kernels. Blows my mind. I get that they don't make much money in the movie, so blah 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 blah. I get all that. So I'm sitting here eating popcorn, and I'm watching the movie, and I'm zoned out. I'm like, okay, I'm watching the movie. I'm almost done, Bryn. So I'm watching the movie, and I'm saying in my head, I'm like, this movie is just not that scary. Like, it's just, I'm not scared. Like, why am I not, like, feeling tense at all, like during this movie? And as I'm saying this girl comes around like a wall, okay, into the theater, and she has popcorn and a soda, but she comes around so fast that I'm watching the movie and it's just kind of like my peripheral vision. Hang on, please. And she comes around the corner, and she's just like walking up the aisle towards me. And she's literally just your average girl. I don't know, jeans and a shirt, and she's, hair. She has hair, and she has a drink and popcorn, and is walking to her seat. But for me, after watching, we watch this movie, It Follows, for a while, you find yourself in the movie looking around the background, because the director plays a lot on the audience not knowing, out of the people around, like let's say they're at a park, and somebody walks up to the group, you don't know if that's the actual ghost, like It Follows. You don't know if that's the creature, or just somebody like looking to play baseball. So you're constantly wondering in the film who that is. So I'm sitting here literally in my seat boasting how I'm not scared, and this girl comes around the corner and starts walking up the aisle with popcorn, and it freaked me, like it literally freaked me out. I was really uncomfortable for like 20 seconds, like thinking like, is she, I mean, it's just ridiculous, but it was just how fast she came out, and I was so creeped out. That, the lady coming up the aisle with the popcorn scared me more than the whole movie combined. And I started laughing in the theater to myself, like, dude, get a grip, right? So obviously maybe the movie was pretty scary. But that's it. I don't know. Let me know what you think in the comments below. It Follows, directed by David Robert Mitchell. The film's 2014, I guess, but it was released in 2015 for North America. But let me know what you guys think. I know a lot of you saw this movie. Let's not be lazy viewers. Let's leave a comment below and give me your thoughts, and also give this a thumbs up. It's really important to give that thumbs up, because that tells YouTube that the video is worth showing more people. It'll come up higher in search engines. Alright, check out killerreviews.com, the Killer Reviews Podcast, and I'm on Twitter at Killer Reviews. Have a great day. Bye.